Okay, 1 minute to go. All right, it's the beginning of this webinar. We're still waiting maybe a second or two to get some more people. All right, so welcome to this live session with SIME. So I'm Matthew, one of the co-founders of SIME and one of the co-developers of Peakto, and we are going to spend some time talking about some of the features of the app and also show you some good information about something that's running at the moment. So really the idea is to probably divide that live session into 3 parts. The first one where we are going to show you some of the latest features that are linked to Capture One, because we just had a live session with Capture One, which is available on YouTube, and you can have a look at it. So I'm going to do a small recap of what we've shown with Capture One and some of the latest things we've done for those users, but that are relevant for many Peakto users. Then I'm going to show you some other new features of the latest release, which is version 2.4, and I want to focus a little bit on some of the features that make the 2 flavors of Peakto. You know, we have a standard version and we just introduced a pro version. Explain a little bit what are the differences, and also show some of the sharing functionalities in both versions to try to explain what is the difference and what you get when you go pro, and what you have when you're in the standard version. And the last part of this session will be about a contest that we're running with Nomadict, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more in detail. So let's get started. Remember, you can ask questions in the chat, and we are going to answer them as they come up. I might also pause between the various topics to ask to review the questions. So feel free to ask questions at any time. All right. So all right. So let's get started. You should see Peakto on the screen. So here it is. And what I'm looking at is a specific Capture One catalog here. So one of the things we've changed in Capture One is the way we display certain features, certain adjustments that have been made to images. So in the case of those images, you can see that there are some crops that have been applied. And in the previous versions of Peakto, we would not really display those crops. Now we display them accurately. We don't need to do that for other apps where we would display, instead of showing here the original image with the cropped version, we would directly display the cropped thumbnail. But in Capture One, we can't do that for various technical reasons that are not really important here. But so in order to show accurately what's happening, we display the crops here. What happens if I double click on one of those images? We have this thing in Capture One, we have it in Lumina as well, where we have a really, really small preview. And so rather than displaying a really, really small preview in full screen, we actually display the original file in full screen and the small preview in a sort of floating window. And you can see the crop as well. So this is really small and low quality. I just want to remind you that there is a new feature that was introduced a few versions ago that lets you compute the high resolution preview for this image. So you can click on that and it's going to invoke Capture One and compute the high resolution preview. So one thing to not be confused about when you do that, Capture One is coming in the front. So it happens to me sometimes. I do the operation and then Capture One comes in the front and I get the impression that Peakto has crashed or something. It's just because Capture One is in the front. So remember, you might want to put your Capture One window on the side in order to not be confused when something like that happens. So again, here, let's try here. If I compute a high resolution preview, Capture One comes in the front and then I get the high resolution preview and you can zoom in it and you can see that it's actually a high resolution image that you got. So that's one thing about Capture One. You can now compute those high resolution preview and you can do that image by image, or you can also just decide that for the source you want to do all the compute high resolution previews for all images and or for this source, and then you can just hit that button. So that's one feature that I just wanted to recap about Capture One. One of the things that we've introduced also in version 2.4, and it applies to every user, is but is really, really relevant for people using Capture One sessions, it's that sometimes your sources are organized in a hierarchy. And this is something you lose completely if you just look at the sources here in Peakto. So remember, Peakto can catalog many things like Capture One Session, Lightroom, Apple Photos, Aperture, Final Cut Pro libraries, etc. But everything is displayed in a flat structure here. So here I have a number of Capture One sessions. I don't know really where they are located on disk. Of course, I could do reveal in Finder, and it would show me where they are. So here, for example, I can see here my Capture One session here, but the hierarchy of the sessions on my drives is lost in this view. So that's something we've changed, and we've modified the way we display the volumes here. So remember, before the volumes were just a simple list where you could see what are the volumes that participate to your catalog. Now you can actually drill down into those volumes. So here, for example, I can see this volume here, I can see the folders, and we only display folders in which we have some sources that have been ingested, so I can navigate through the hierarchy of that thing. So for example, if I go here and I do show in Finder and bring that up, now I'm going to see the full hierarchy of my disk, starting with the drive here, and then I go into big collections, demo, Peakto sessions, so I can see all my hierarchy. I have many more folders on that drive, but they don't contain any sources in Peakto, so we just skip them. So that's cool. You can see where those things are located, and not only can you see where they are located, but you can also use that hierarchy to create specific filters. So for example, here I'm looking at just that catalog. Here I'm looking at those two together, and if I click here, I'm going to look at all the sources, whether they are here, Capture One session or Capture One catalog or anything else in that folder. So that's super useful because you can now really create collections. So imagine, for example, that you've organized your catalogs by year, and that would be a specific year. You can simply click on the year and you will see the content of all the catalogs that are located in that folder. So it adds like an extra level of grouping of things together. One of the things that people who have lots of catalog have asked for was also the ability to not have to drag and drop everything manually into the view, because it's cumbersome and you can miss things, etc. So we had in the past a function called attach catalogs in a folder, where we can point to a folder and it would scan everything and attach it. But we've added now the ability to do that directly from any location here. So if I go here, show in Finder, you can see that I have those sessions here, but I also have created a new folder with some extra sessions here. So these are Capture One sessions, could be anything, and this is not referenced here. So what I can do now is I can actually say scan and attach new catalogs under this folder. And it's going to scan, and it's going to tell you there are 4 catalogs to attach. And now it's doing it. And you can see those 4 catalogs have been attached. Now the AI is computing for those, etc. I can click on one of them. It's going to show this is content that's courtesy of Capture One, and it's just ingesting those things. And if I keep adding things into new sessions, I could just then do here scan and attach new catalogs under this folder. This is super useful to let you scan stuff that is in a folder. So that is new, and that probably concludes my first round of features about Capture One. So in the meantime, I've lost my my chat window, so I can't see the questions. Probably need to rely on Anthony to show me the questions if there are any. Okay. All right. So again, ask questions if you want. We're going to answer them. Currently I can't really see the chat window with the questions, but I will rely on Anthony to post it if there are any questions to answer. The next thing okay, so I have a very large Capture One catalog, and Peakto takes a very long time to analyze the photo. All right. Okay, so in terms of performance, there are a number of factors that are to be taken into account. So the first one is where your catalog is stored. So if it's on a NAS that is accessed over the network, it's going to be extremely slow if you are not wired. So if you're going over Wi-Fi, for example, if it's not a fast drive, but it's directly connected to your Mac, it's going to take some time. But 140K images would take. I mean, one of the benchmarks, especially on a Mac that is an M4, I mean, it's probably taking about 10 minutes per 10K to ingest. So you should have, 12 hours to ingest 60,000 images. That's way too long. So I really suggest you get in touch with us, because of course, it depends on the type of drive that you have. But even with a slow drive that's not an SSD drive, 60,000 images, they cannot take more than 2 hours to ingest. I mean, it's I would understand that. So yeah, okay. Then we have to also clarify what we mean by ingestion, because Peakto does a number of things in a sequence. The first thing is to scan for the content, grab the images, grab all the metadata, and this can be really fast. Today, for example, I scanned 30,000 images in about 2 minutes. They were not raw files, they were JPEGs, but it took 2 minutes. Then there is AI that kicks in, and it does a number of things. It fuels our search, it computes a number of things, of indicators, and that probably took 10 minutes on those 30K images. I'm running an M4 as well. And then the faces. And those 30K images had lots of faces, so this took quite a while. It took probably 40 minutes. But this can be done later. It can happen later on. You can start working, you can do search, you can do a number of things while these more lengthy operations are happening. And there is something that maybe is something that is mentioned here regarding faces. It takes a long time to compute faces because it does an operation at the end of it, which is really, really slow. And in the next release, it's something we have fixed. So whenever it syncs, it's not going to do the whole thing again. It's just going, because just to clarify, the faces operation is very slow because it does two passes. The first pass really quick, finds all the faces and finds the big clusters of really obvious faces and groups. And then it does what we call a deep faces search, where it tries to find smaller clusters that are harder to find, and this is really slow. And this is done every time you sync, which makes no sense. So we are changing that, and you can do it on demand if you want to find smaller clusters, if you want to do a deeper search on faces. So next release we have this option, and it should change your life if you have lots of faces. All right. So the next thing I wanted to touch upon is some of the new features of in terms of sharing, and explaining how Peakto standard is different from the Pro version. So if you used Peakto before, or you've seen what we do with sharing, we have this ability via this share button to share the catalog over the network, either over the local network or over the public network. And when we say share the catalog, it means that you can remotely access the catalog, the whole catalog, in using this feature. So for example, here I'm going to share locally. If I start and I open a web browser. So first of all, when I start my share, I gave it a name, default for today, and when I open the browser, so I'm going to show the browser here, I can access the various workspaces that I've been invited to. Here in my case, I'm going to look at this one, default for today, and I can see the Peakto library. So this is the same library as I have in Peakto here. I can see the same sources. For example, if I go to my Capture One sessions here, and I click on Icelandic wedding, I see the same images, right? They are completely synchronized, and if I change things here, for example, if I edit a title or I add some things, it's going to be reflected in the other one, and vice versa. So here I'm looking at everything. The Pro version is a bit different because it allows you to do that, and it's a sort of remote access for accessing everything. But you can also share just parts of your catalog. So for example, imagine that I want to give access just to that source here, or just to that Icelandic wedding to someone. I can do that using the Pro version. And here I'm running the Pro version, so I have this extra menu where I can say I want to share with a team. So what is a team? The team is something you set up in your setting. Here you can declare some collaborators, and based on your license, this is why it's actually centralized in the license part of the app. based on how many licenses you've purchased, you can declare a number of collaborators. You can revoke them, you can add new ones, etc., change the names. But here I have a quota of 6 collaborators because this is the license that I purchased. So I've declared this person, collaborator 3 at Sim.io, as one collaborator. And so when I go here and I say share with the team, I can create a new share for that collaborator. I can give it a name. Right, so here I'm giving the name of my share. I see currently that share is about this source called Icelandic Wedding, and I can add my users here. So here I have only one user to add because my team is currently consisting of just one user. So I can add it. And now this collaborator can access that, that content. I can set the rights that he has on the content. For example, he can annotate, meaning he can, for example, put 3 stars on the content. He can download, or he can rearrange things. So for example, he could create a collection with specific images of that source and create a new collection. So I'm going to give him the rights to download and to edit. It's the same thing as you have when you, actually no, it used to be a bit different in user interface, but that's essentially the access rights, and you get that only for the Pro version. So I'm going to validate, and what happens now is that this collaborator is going to get an email with a link to access the shared area. And now what I'm going to show you is a different navigator, which is here I'm using Chrome here, so I can connect as a different user. And you see here I'm connected as collaborator 3 at Sim.io, looking at the workspace that is shared by this Peakto running in the background. And here I can see that this collaborator can access this source called Heftiba and the Icelandic Wedding source that I've just shared with him. So let's suppose that I want to share more stuff about Iceland with this guy. I can share with the team and add source to the share, so I can reuse that shared Icelandic stuff, shared area, and add now the Iceland finals source to that share. If I go back to here and I refresh, now I can see he has access to Icelandic finals. And because when I set up that Icelandic stuff, I gave him the rights to download and to annotate. He can annotate. You can see he could set a star here, and if he double clicks on an image, he will be able to download it. You can download the original. So that's in essence what you can do with the Pro version. You can create a team and share with the team. You can manage your shares. So here, for example, if I want to edit and remove some stuff, for example, I remove the Icelandic Wedding from his share and I validate. I can also change, for example, his access rights. I can do that. And if I go back here and if I refresh, it's gone. You can't do anything on that thing. So this is essentially what Peakto Pro allows you to do. There is another capability of Peakto Pro that is not yet released, but it's going to be released probably by the end of the summer, is the ability to share with people that are outside your organization. So if you want to share with customers, you will be able to do that using just their email. So you don't have to buy licenses for them to to access the content, but they will be able to do much less than the collaborator. They won't be able to annotate. They won't have the contextual search. They will just be able to view things and probably download if you give them the rights to download. Because yes, I didn't highlight that, but the user interface that a collaborator has is a user interface with semantic search. So you can search. Here I have only a few images, so it's not probably not very impressive, but if you have lots of content that you share among collaborators, they can actually run the contextual search, the semantic search using a prompt, and we'll add all the search capabilities like searching in dialogue, searching. We're going to expand the functionalities of the web to enable that. That's probably where I wanted to go with this functionality. If there are any questions, I see Donald is asking, is there a good place to share feature requests? Yes, there is a good place to share feature requests. Well, first of all, there is a place which is our Trello, where you can see our public roadmap. So you can find the link, or we can paste the link in the chat. Probably Anthony can do that. The Trello is where we are sharing what we are doing. So what is done, what we are currently working on, what are the features we are going to do, and you can see the votes. So you can upvote a feature, and we really look into the votes in order to say what we're going to do next. So for example, here, I mean, if we look at the really high votes, an iPhone app, okay, better integration with Affinity, easy navigation by gear, etc. These are the kind of things, and we keep looking at those things and move them around to see the order. And then whatever is done here is actually something we are currently working on. So here you can see what's happening, and you can see that there are some ideas as well that you can upvote. And if you want to submit a feature request, you just contact us by email at peakto-app@sime.io and ask us to feature your idea in this Trello so that it can be viewed by other people. And of course, you can also just send feature requests. We always look at and reply at every mail that is sent to us. So please do. Jed Best, what happens if SEO is not set to full sync? Right, so here I guess the question about full synchronization is probably related to some of the features here and in Capture One. So Peakto, the way it works is Peakto tries to find out when things change in the underlying the source. For folders, we recently, I mean, at the end of last year, we've implemented a really synchronized view of your folders so that you don't have to really think about what's happening whenever you duplicate something, you change the name, or Peakto will stay in sync. But for other sources that are more complex, Peakto will try to figure out if something has changed. And for some sources, it's actually like Lightroom, it's actually quite reliable because we know where Lightroom stores the information about the changes that were made on pictures, metadata or adjustments, whatever. But Capture One, unfortunately, does not store that information. So we have no way of telling what has changed in a Capture One catalog, except if you, inside Capture One, sorry, going back to Capture One, inside Capture One, if you set your synchronization to be full sync, because in that case, what happens every time you change something in Capture One, like you change a metadata, you changed an adjustment, Capture One will update the XMP sidecar of the image, and we look into the changes in those XMP sidecars. We look into the date of change of those sidecars, and so we can detect in an indirect manner, if you want, whenever something has changed in Capture One. So I would really recommend to do this. If for some reason you don't want to do that and you want to be known, that means that Peakto is going to be extremely unreliable to when it comes to displaying a change that happened in a catalog. It's okay to live with that. It's perfectly fine. It's just that you will have to do one of two things. Either you know what has changed, and you've changed a number of images in a specific areas. So I know, for example, that I've changed, let's take an example, I've changed images taken on that day. I've edited them all. So it's fine in Peakto to select them all using the Shift key, for example, and to do sync. So you can sync those 14 files and it's going to sync them. Even though you don't know whether some of them have changed or not, you can do that. Or you can say, oh, I have time, it doesn't really matter, I'm going to do a deep sync. And then you run the deep sync and Peakto is going to be up to date. So if you don't want to have Capture One tell us when something has changed, you have to do it manually. You have to sometimes run a deep sync in order for us to catch up with the information. So I hope it answers the question. Okay. If there are any more questions, I don't see many more from Anthony. So, right. So the next thing we want to talk about is something we are doing currently with. Let's just remove that. So the Peakto public roadmap link is available. You can actually access it from Peakto itself. So it's really easy to if you need to access it. So we have we've created something. When we created Peakto, we really wanted to, first of all, be able to have access to all your images, all your videos in one app. And I think we are there. I mean, maybe there's a number of things that we still need to improve on, performances, and we take those things really, really seriously. But I think we are there. We have the ability now to find things, and we have these amazing timelines that lets you find stuff and rediscover your content. So we really wanted to have to create something exciting about this ability to search and to rediscover your picture. So we've teamed up with Nomadict, which is one of the most inspiring photography community out there, and we've created a contest. So I'm posting the link here. You will have the link of that contest in the as well in the live, and the idea was really to say, even if you have images that are buried in catalogs, in drives that you don't remember about, and we have some of our customers have millions of images. Peakto is here to help you find those things. And sometimes telling a good story is not about finding about a great picture, but it's about looking at your library differently. And this is what we wanted to do with this contest. So the contest lets you win Peakto licenses, but the first prize is a Sony camera. And there are two ways to enter the contest. One way is seeing your work through the years. And that's one of the things that Peakto is pretty good at, is you can search for something, and then using the timeline, you can see how the thing you're looking at has changed over time. So it can be a person, it can be a specific style of photography. You can see how your architecture shots have changed over time, for example, or you can do various things. Or the other way is to use some search features and to try to find some hidden gems in your library. So you can type anything really in search, and you can be abstract as well. You can be creative with the search prompt. You don't have to look for something specific. And then you can. The idea is that once you find those things, you just have a simple form to fill in to get access to Peakto, and then you can post a carousel on Instagram with the images that you found, either through the years or using a simple search. So, for example, this is an example of a search that was performed on silhouettes. Just typing the word silhouette, and these are the images that come up from this creator's Peakto library. So just grab 5 images and post them on Instagram, and you're into the contest. You have a number of things to enter in the caption, and that's it. So we hope you try, and you try to use Peakto in order to get surprised by the content that you have in your libraries, using one of the many features that we have in the app, and enter the contest. All right. There's a last question. I would like to love to be able to search for words that appear inside a video file. So I'm not sure I understand the question right. Is that words that appear as images inside the video file, or words that are part of the dialogues? Because you know that when it comes to the dialogues, this is something that we get you covered with the dialogues. If you type anything here and you select speech, it's going to find all the videos that have that word in the dialogue. So these are all the videos that match my query, and if I double click any of them, I have the transcript here, and I have here 4 instances of love in that video. So here, okay, words in the image, not in the dialogues. Okay, so yeah, we know about this request for finding text in images. The truth is that we currently detect text in images, not in videos, but in images, in order to find whether a specific image is more a document than an image, and then we classify it as document, but we don't extract the text. So one of the way forward is, and we don't do it because it can be really, it can be quite time consuming. So we all know Apple Photo does it really well, but Apple Photo is also an app that does a number of things in the background or during the night, like the faces, and all that can take really long time, but they do it in a sort of deferred way. So maybe one of the ways to do that is to make it optional, so that not everyone pays the cost of doing that, but you can activate the model when required. So yeah, something we can do that. We can definitely schedule it for a future release. If there are no more questions, anything you want to get covered today? Okay, match on specific faces. So I assume that matching on specific faces is probably the ability to define faces. That's also a request that we get. Okay, finding faces. So without disclosing too much, we are currently working on faces in videos, and so that's something that you should expect to see at some point. One of the requirements, but one of the things we've been asked a number of times is also the ability to pre-register faces. So rather than to actually rely on the clusters and name the clusters, it would be the ability, like I have here, I have a number of clusters here that I can name. The idea would be to say, well, I will declare a number of, give you a number of pictures of that person, and I name it, and then I want you to find it in every picture that I have, which is a sort of a different way of doing it, and probably also link a biography of those people, maybe a link to Wikipedia if it's for famous people or celebrities or people that you often want to have more information about. So this is something that we are looking at. Can't really say when it's going to happen. Okay. Yeah, so again, if you have specific feature requests, reach out to us, or also send us an email to be featured on the roadmap, and we definitely consider everything. Thanks a lot for all the attendees and for your questions, and I hope you'll be pleased with the things we will deliver in the next few weeks and months. Definitely, faces is a big demand. We know that there are certain areas where we can really improve how we've done faces, and especially improving performances to not pay the cost of doing too many things every time you add a new picture in a source, which is currently a little bit the case, and make that a much smoother experience, and especially as we move to detecting faces and showing the faces that are part of the video. So thank you very much for your time, attendance, and don't forget about the Nomadict competition. Even if you have already a camera, or even if you have already Peakto, it's a great thing to rediscover some of your pictures or videos by just shooting a few prompts in the search field and see what comes out. Take care, and see you next time for the next live session. Bye bye.